need to think ahead to have a chance to be the best, and that is facts. It's a war between the alpha and omega. More intense than Street Fighter on the Sega. Your team is weak, it's time to make a couple trades. Get a player off the waiver just to plug them in and play. Do whatever that it takes so you can win it. Make it to the ship so you can say that you were in it. If you don't win it, then it means you're number two, and number two ain't number one, so number two ain't good enough. Just means you couldn't get it done. You had a run but couldn't finish. So when next year comes, I hope you're doing something different. Plan to make it to the top, you need to build right. Make a trade to win the game as if it feels right. 25 is here, the new year starts, draft night. Hope that you're ready for the fight like Friday Night Lights. Keep the enemy in sight, try to beat them like you might. Yeah, fantasy's back and PPL is where it's at. PPL is where it's at. The wait is finally over, PPL is finally back. Everybody ready, trying to be the next champ. Yeah, you know the show is starting when you hear the new rap. Welcome back to the Twins, to the Gaff and the gods, to the boss. Trade 50 in the squad, to the plays, baby gas, Argonauts and the skulls. We've been waiting too long, man, it's finally time to ball. Yeah, it's time to get it on.
And yes, PPL is back again, ready to give you week 12. PPL Live, Gino the Gent here with my man Ulysses S. Haight. It's time to jump deep into the season. And here we go with our week 12 game. But before we do that, let's take a lie back to week 11. Starting with the Argonauts getting a big win to get by Trey Fiddy, 144 to 116. Squad underestimated, leaves no doubt when they need to. Big win over the Twins, 172 to 147. Appease the gods, make it 9 straight. One of the hottest teams in league history, 115 to 78. Cavs TNT explodes on Only for the Boss's playoff chances, 128 to 62. And the Skulls make a big statement, clinching a playoff spot, 132 to the Gaff Attacks, 114. Man, oh man, week 11 really started to crystallize where we're going to go with the season. And you know we got to take our last look at week 11 with the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right, Ulysses, let's hear it, man. Good, bad, and ugly. Entertain me, brother.
Yeah, man, I'm going to go with squad underestimated.
Okay, you coming around.
Well, I mean, when you leave no doubt in a week that, I mean, Patty's Twins, I mean, they'd have killed for 147 all throughout the season.
Right.
It killed them to lose this game.
Yeah.
And in doing so, like you said, squad left no doubt and clinched a playoff spot. Not necessarily alpha title yet, but
right.
That's close if he continues these winning ways. 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Everybody's hitting right now. I mean, the one real big question mark is CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
I have not been enjoying what I've been seeing there, but hey, gets the win. And honestly, it just looked convincing. So squad keeps playing like this. I mean, there's no reason to think he won't win out the Alpha Conference.
No, definitely, man. And maybe they should have addressed QB a little bit sooner. I mean, because they're going to have to pay a higher price at this point in the season if they're going to trade for a guy. But, I mean, regardless of that, man, 172 is 172. Great week for the pole position in the Alpha Conference, man. Let's hear your bad.
Yeah, my bad's going to go to the Gaff, man. Losing on the other side of that Skulls matchup. I mean, this was a prestige matchup. All hats off to the Skulls. A big bounce back after the loss last week. And, I mean, the Gaff just really, when I looked at this, it was a lot closer, I think, throughout the game, throughout the week, I should say.
Yeah.
And then really separated towards the end. But when the other guy loses the head coach, you get that win. I mean, you expect it to be a little bit more competitive. I mean, Skulls almost put up a 20-point victory here. But again, there are things about the Gaff that are starting to make me concerned.
Okay.
I mean, first of all, the quarterback situation in Dallas is really going to limit CeeDee Lamb.
Okay.
And even though he put up 14, respectable line, I mean, Gaff is expecting 20-plus point efforts.
Right.
A goose egg out of your tight end. And again, when you look at the difference in point scoring between Bo Nix and Jalen Hurts, I don't think that that's as solid of a start every week. And I think he needs to look at that matchup. And again, not doing so, I think, cost him this matchup.
Okay.
The Gaff got caught complacent here, and it cost him.
Wow, man, that was an explicit bad. Let's hear your ugly if that's bad.
Well, I mean, ugly. I mean, it was my lock of the week last week. I had Only for the Boss shitting on Kev's TNT. And, I mean, this guy got whopped. I mean, more than a double-digit effort. You double his score, he still loses.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you know, a coach loss is a coach loss, but it's like it really wasn't happening anywhere.
Yeah.
Even when you see James Cook put up 17.2, I mean, those were like goal line kind of situations. It wasn't a big day, I think, anywhere. And Travis Kelce just is a shell of his former self. He's just not that. I don't believe the elite person he was before. It's all falling apart. And again, the real thing for Only for the Boss here is he is teetering. There's a 4-way tie for that 6th playoff spot, and he's holding on to it. But again, he continues to be in free fall. Again, loser of 2 in a row, and again, he's got to get this right. And again, with the current personnel, I'm not sure. I think he's going to have to make some moves.
Yeah, definitely, man. My good for the season, or excuse me, for week 11 is a team who bounced back when they needed to bounce back and showed a lot of character, and that's the Skulls, man. Josh Allen with a big day in that upset of the Chiefs. Great day from J.K. Dobbins, who got 2 clutch touchdowns to help salt this matchup away for the Skulls. And let's talk about it, man. Jamar Chase has been unstoppable. Going into Sunday night, there was a real question about whether the Skulls were going to be able to win this matchup. Guys showed up when they needed to, and it was just one of the clutcher victories you're going to see on the back half of the schedule. This keeps the Skulls in position to potentially steal the Omega Conference title despite that loss to ATG. Getting the gaff out of the way, the Skulls can still control a chance of getting that first round bye. So that's my good. My bad, man. I'm with you, is the gaff. This was a matchup they cannot let slip. If they win, they control their own destiny because they have a head-to-head still with Appease the Gods. They let this matchup slip, and it's going to have ramifications for them down the stretch. They benefited big time last year when they won the Pantheon Cup from having that first-round bye that they're not going to have this year. And let's talk about it, man. Complacency and not making moves. Why are you leaving guys like Kyler Murray and Bo Nix on your bench? Guys who can start for other teams when you have deficits at certain positions like the tight end position, and you probably could use a upgrade at the flex. The Gav got complacent, like you said, and it really came back to bite them at a crucial point of the season. If they want to have any chance of defending the Pantheon Cup title, I think that they may need to make a move. And my ugly is a team, I mean, it's probably just mercifully over for them, man. And that's what I need about Trey Fiddy. This team was a team that tanked last year to get the number 1 pick. It looks like they're back on their way to the number 1 pick, and they didn't need to tank at all this year. Let's talk about it. Travis Etienne was a huge disappointment this year. Wilson and that whole Jet situation imploded. Those Atlanta Falcons that he's waited years and years on just never came to fruition, even with Kirk Cousins. And it's got them on the end of a 3-8 season. And it might not get any better with an up-and-coming game with with the hottest team in the PPL with Appease the Gods. But as I always say, hey, let's segue right into that matchup. Let's not even wait. Let's start with our interconference matchup of the week. A huge one. Appease the Gods can start eliminating teams from the PPL playoff this week in this matchup. We got a big interconference game. We got Appease the Gods, winners of 9 straight, taking on 3-8. I need about Trey Fiddy. All right, man, I pretty much laid it out in my ugly with Trey Fiddy. They beat this matchup. They are not mathematically eliminated here, so they, I guess, technically have a chance, but they got to get a win here. They're playing the hottest team in the league. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, it's just really unfortunate for Trey Fiddy with where bye weeks are hitting. He's just absolutely decimated. I mean, with the Jets, Jacksonville, and Atlanta on byes. I mean, he's without Breece Hall, Drakeland, and Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
Ian Pitts. I mean, again, we could talk about how these guys have struggled. I mean, hell, they're still top 10.
Right.
So there's a lot of question marks around what's going on with this Trey Fiddy team. And without those guys, I'm not sure that the guys that he's got going are going to be able to do it.
Okay.
He does not have a backup tight end, so he's going to have to go find somebody. And then again, who's he going to drop? So he's got some decisions to make. And again, I think that the defense, the Miami against New England, I mean, that could really go a few different ways.
Yeah.
And Broncos coach against Las Vegas, I like that. The other side, I mean, ATG's coming to this pretty much in full strength. Bijan Robinson also on the bye.
Yeah.
But what I've been seeing out of David Montgomery, Brian Robinson coming back in, and the fact that he has McLaurin, I mean, that's really a big check on Jaden Daniels. And so I think that ATG just looking, he got Cade Otton back into the lineup.
Yeah. Broncos
D has been pivotal. And again, with the coach being on the other side, I just don't see enough separation between this for Trey Fitty to be able to capitalize.
Okay.
I've got ATG winning this interconference 126 to I need about Trey Fitty's 105.
All right, man, I'm with you. Like you said, the buys did hit, and these guys, I mean, maybe I was a little harsh. They were productive, but they just weren't productive in tandem to anything for Trey Fitty this season. There was no chemistry. When I look at Appease the Gods, though, they've got the ultimate checks on Jalen Daniels on the ground and in the air, and they've got a plus matchup with that Dallas defense who's giving up, they're giving you whatever you like. I love the Sutton play as the wide receiver too. Him and Bo Nix are getting better and better together, and he's finally the quarterback who's unlocked Sutton. This has been a guy that for years and years has been a guy that people have talked about being an asset. He's starting to finally show that, and it's thanks to a guy like Bo Nix. So give him credit for that. And I like the Quentin Johnson play on Monday night. Baltimore's pass defense is one of the worst in the league, and ATG could get some late points there on the other side of that matchup. Now on Trey Fitty's side, I love Jaden Daniels, and he does get his Cardinals back against Seattle, which should be a high-scoring game. But the Estime play is a dart throw. And Jameson Williams gave a valiant effort against the Argonauts last week, but I don't know if that's going to be the same this week. Need to find a tight end. A lot of dart throws here. I got to appease the gods, making it 10 straight, on the verge of some historic stuff. I got ATG getting this one and potentially clinching the Omega Conference title. 122 to Trey Fitty's 109. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into Alpha in another clinching scenario. Can the 2 seed get locked up this week? Huge one for Squad Underestimated. On the cusp of history against Cavs TNT. All right, man, big one here. Squad Underestimated have now won 3 straight after their mid-season stumble. They come out looking like gangbusters. Leave no doubt. What do you think of this one? Cavs TNT obviously won last week, but they need to get their lineup set.
Yeah, and I mean, for that reason, I really looked at the Week 3 matchup when these teams played.
Yeah.
Squad Underestimated lost by just over 3 points. So,
okay.
Trust, he marked this on the calendar when he took that first loss. And again, I love his matchups this week. I mean, CJ Stroud, again, knocked him in as the 1 weak spot. Well, he's playing Tennessee. I mean, this week should be a big week for him. Nobody can stop Saquon. McCaffrey, again, his usage has not been exactly what we had become accustomed to. He's still being kind of monitored. But everybody else is hit. I mean, let's see. I really love Brock Bowers. I mean, he's about the only positive thing you could talk about out of Las
Raiders,
Vegas.
yeah.
Again, Lions against Indy, that should be a good D play. And Texans, I mean, Tennessee. So I really have this as lock of the week territory.
Okay.
The real thing that has that sorted for me is the Joe Burrow's bye.
Okay.
He can go. He can go with Jared Goff, but Jared Goff is again.
He's not
no
Joe Burrow. Yeah.
And so he can make some moves here. And again, I think that he's going to have to pull out all the stops to get this win. Again, I love the Commanders' D against Dallas, but when I look at all the talent that Squad has right now, I've just got them locking this up, clinching an Alpha title conference title, and really staking their claim going into the playoffs. I've got Squad winning this one 130 to Kevin's TNT 99.
All right, man, I'm with you, and that's just based on current lineups. I think that if he does get Jared Goff and Mike Evans in the lineup, 2 guys who could go nuclear, I mean, let's be real, his chances would improve drastically. His no coach strategy worked out again for him last week, putting up a very good 128 without a coach win is always a good thing. But let's talk about it, man. Squad put up 172, and that was with the matchup in doubt going into Monday night. They got 40 more points there. Squad has been able to score. Second highest scoring team in the league, and I think that they continue their winning ways. I got Squad underestimated, clinching their first Alpha Conference title with a big win here, 139 to Cavs TNT's 122. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into Omega for a big one. The Skulls need this to stay on track for the Omega Conference title. The Twins need to stay in the wild card race. We got a big one. The Skulls taking on Patty's Twins. All right, man, I pretty much spelled it out here. If this is ever a week to catch the Skulls, this is the week. No Chase, no Allen. What you think of this one? Can the Twins get it done?
Yeah, I think the Twins do get it done. And for the exact reasons you said, Tua has been all over the map. Let's see what he can do. But he's no Josh Allen, and Jamar Chase, number one at the position.
Yeah.
There's really no equivalent. And so even when I see the moves, these guys are not bad going in.
Yeah.
But again, they are not at superstar levels. You're not predicting 20-plus point days. I mean, with those two on the bench, that's minus 40 just on projection, right?
Yeah.
And so I love the Bucks coach against the Giants. I think he's out here making moves. Texans against the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
He's out here trying to win. But on the other side, again, we've been talking about it. I think Green Bay's right to get beat. And I think San Francisco's going to be very hungry for that. Brock's going to factor. I think, again, I love Detroit's matchup against Indy. I think Najee and company should really be all up over Cleveland.
Yeah.
And Malik Neighbors. I think that Giants Tampa Bay game has the
Potential to get high scoring. Yeah.
Right. Anytime you have a personnel switch, and I mean, DeVito lit it up last season.
He sure
for a little
did.
bit. And
Tommy
so,
Cutlets.
Yeah, exactly. Tommy's back.
Yeah.
Lions coach has been a damn near lock all season. Again, I like the 49ers deep, but no Bosa, so we'll have to see how that factors in here. But even so, I just really like that the Twins are basically going full strength. When they played Week 4, they absolutely throttled the Skulls, and I think that they make a claim for that 6th playoff spot and snap a 4-game losing streak.
Okay.
I've got Patty's Twins getting this one in a tight one. I'm going to say they get 117 to the Skulls 113.
All right, man. We're starting to agree a lot. I'm with you here, man. Brock Purdy. They're in a bounce back spot against Green Bay. They're gonna come in there hungry. Jonathan Taylor, I think that he can get some garbage time scores against that Detroit defense. And let's talk about it. Najee's had himself a pretty good year. He's really staking his claim. This was a contract year for Najee, and he's playing like it. He's had himself a pretty good year. Not spectacular, but really good, and he's been consistent. Let's talk about it. Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're the reason the Twins had such a huge effort against Squad Underestimated last week. Had a huge day with his 2 TDs. They need him to continue that production for them to have a chance. And they better, Tommy Cutlets better get that ball to Malik Neighbors, because if he doesn't, they might get a visit from Patty's Twins. Now, on the Skull side, I like the Tua play against New England. Tua's actually found his sea legs. He looked really good against the Raiders last week. I don't think New England's defense offers much resistance either. And I like Ramondre against the Dolphins defense. So I think that he can get a lot of points in that matchup. But let's talk about it, man. I like Ladd McConkey. He's a great flex guy, but he's not no Jamar Chase. And that's going to end up being the difference here. I don't really like how Aaron Jones' usage is going either. And I think the Twins find a way to stay in the wild card race. I got Patty's Twins surviving. And I think that Jonnu Smith play is a sneaky smart play at the tight end spot to check Tua Tagovailoa. I got Patty's Twins getting this one, 124 to the Skulls 117. And moving on to our next matchup, we go on to our next Omega game. A big one for the Gaff. They've got to stop the bleeding a little bit here. They got the United Players, the Destroyers. All right, man, big one here for the Gaff Attack. The United Players, they can pretty much pack it in. I mean, they do have an outside shot, but they need help. But what do you think of this one, man? Gaff Attack UP.
Well, I mean, there's enough games here, and I mean, they are technically tied for that spot. It's just going to come down to how these last 3 weeks do. So the UP just has to do one thing, and that's win.
Okay, true.
They have a decent shot. Problem is they're not making the moves that are going to put them in that spot. I mean, with Kirk Cousins, T. Higgins, the Bills D, Falcons coach on the bye, he hasn't made any moves. He has no other quarterback on the roster, and so I mean, if I had a runner-up for lock of the week, it's going to be this, man. Gaff always tends to have bounce backs. He doesn't tend to string together losses.
Right.
So I think UP is going to be victim of some of that displacement aggression. I like the lineup with one exception. I think that he should really think about the Bo Nix start. Again, the quarterback play let him down last week, didn't get what he needed.
True.
And Bo Nix is playing at Las Vegas, a divisional opponent. He's a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
I think the Gaff doing that in a game that I think is relatively safe, I think will make him more confident going into the playoffs about what he's going to need to do personnel-wise, because I think he's going to have to do a better job.
And Kyler's an option too, man.
Well, he sure is, but I really think that, again, the dynamic play of Bo Nix, but again, Kyler has it. I just think that Kyler's going to have a tougher game at Seattle. Okay. Bo Nix at Las Vegas. Las Vegas has offered very little resistance. Again, made Tua look great last week. Yeah. And I think Bo set to do that. And I think he's going to have a better game than Hurts this week. Yeah. And so I think that the Gaff, I mean, they approach leave no doubt territory here. I've got them going 134 to UP's 73.
I'm with you, man. There was keeping the Gaff near the top despite the situation with CeeDee Lamb moving into flex territory is the fact that their running game's so good. Jahmyr Gibbs is having himself a great season, and Kenneth Walker has been probably one of the better RB2s in the PPL. Let's talk about it, man. DK Metcalf needs to be a bigger impact, I think, down the stretch for the Gaff. He's got to help replace some of that CeeDee Lamb lost production. And A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, man, it's just not looking as good. The chemistry just doesn't seem to be there between those two as well as it was earlier in last year. And I think that they're leaning more on their running game in Philly. So it might behoove the Gaff to go on ahead and look at a guy like Kyler, who is his team's offense, and also a Bo Nix, who is ascending. Now, on the United Players side, I mean, I'm not going to waste my time guessing what they're going to try to do on the waiver wire Sunday morning. I got the Gaff attack getting this one, 140 to the United Players, 88. And moving on to the prestige matchup of the week. We got a big one here in the Alpha Conference. Number 5 and number 6, two teams both in the wild card spots right now. But something's got to give. Big one here in the PPL. We got the Argonauts taking in only for the Boss. All right, man, big one here. Boss needs this one after dropping the last matchup. And the Argonauts have now won 4 straight and lead the PPL in scoring. They need this matchup as well. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, although this is a prestige matchup and both teams have been in this position a lot of times, you know, this is a tale of two teams going in different directions. As you said, the Argos are the top scoring team, but what you may not know is that Only for the Boss is the lowest scoring team.
Oh, wow.
And so when you look at in the week 3 matchup these guys played, that 170 was the best week that Only for the Boss put up. And the Argos put up 130 in that loss. When I've looked at the Argos since then, they've been putting up about that stat line, Only for the Boss, nowhere close. They then have that compounded this week with James Cook out of the lineup. That's been one of their stalwarts of scoring, top 10 back. And on the other side, it's just he has options. And I think the Justin Herbert acquisition, having that against Baltimore, who's been purging, this is not that same Baltimore defense. I think was a great trade. You see what Jawan Jennings did. I like both him and Kittle against Green Bay. The Steelers' D was a recent acquisition, and I looked at that. They're a top 5 defense. So again, maybe other teams are not paying attention to who's available, and the Argos snuck one in. Then you've got the Commanders against Dallas. I think that's damn near a lock. Now, on the other side, I think Only for the Boss makes this interesting because Kansas City and company are playing Carolina. I mean, they should have a field day, but I mean, this to me has not been the same kind of offensive Kansas City team. Like, even if they win that game, I don't think it's by more than 2 scores.
Okay.
So, again, I've got this, even though it's a prestige matchup, I've got the Argos doing what they've done all season, and I've got them in a leave no doubt performance.
Okay.
And I've got them going 145 to Only for the Bosses 130.
All right, man. Yeah, the Bosses' best week of the season was, I believe, that 170-point effort that they had against the Argonauts. And they come into this matchup with a matchup that Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce should be able to get on track, along with the defense and the HC. I think those are 4 spots where they're very solid at. And it's going to be very interesting because if the production goes Deebo Samuel's way, that can cancel out 2 of the Argonaut starters. Only for the Boss has a very good shot in this matchup. They also got 2 guys going up against the Argonaut Steelers defense. But on the other side, let's look at it. Achane has been looking very, very good since Tua's come back into the lineup. Kyron Williams, I think he's due to get back into the end zone. And Jefferson, I think, is also due for an explosion. On the at the end of the day, that Washington head coach is a win, I think, to help balance out against that Chiefs win. And the Argonauts find a way to get by with a good Justin Herbert performance Monday night. I got the Argonauts getting this one 129 to Only for the Bosses 117. Alrighty, PPLers, thanks for another great week of PPL Live. 12 weeks down already. It's been a great season so far. It's only going to get better as we see how it all comes down. See you guys next week for our Turkey Tussles Thanksgiving weekend. You guys have fun. Have a good weekend. See you Sunday. Good luck, and may the odds be ever in your favor.